Hey y'all, Matt Johnson with the Sierra Club here again. I'm with Cyrus Reed, our Conservation Director, and this week we are inside the Texas Capitol. This room is called the Members Lounge, but I don't see any members here, so let's chat. Cyrus, maybe the biggest thing coming out of this week were the Senate Finance Committee hearings. Wednesday in particular was an important day because they covered the budgets of many important state agencies, such as the Parks and Wildlife Department, the Railroad Commission, the Texas Commission on Environmental Quality, and the Water Development Board, just to name a few. So it was a busy day for you.
Very busy.
Did anything come out of it that surprised you? Any comments from the dais or agency heads?
It was an interesting day. All the agencies testified and then they allowed public testimony. One thing that stood out was the big support for parks and wildlife, and some pointed questions from Senator Hinojosa about the proposed border wall going through one of the parks in his district, Benson State Park, with the head of Parks and Wildlife. That was very interesting. But it was also interesting that I saw a number of the members, like Senator Donna Campbell and new Senator Pete Flores, who I would hardly term environmentalists, concerned about air quality in their districts and what TCQ was doing to ensure that people were breathing good air. Thought that was interesting. And then there was a lot of comments from the public in general about the need to spend the money we're already collecting for programs like the Texas Emission Reduction Plan, like the Low-Income Vehicle Repair and Replacement, and air planning grants, which Governor Abbott actually vetoed last session, making sure we spend that money this time.
Right, right. But one of the things that I've always wondered about is the agencies are asked to submit their proposed budgets months in advance of a week like this one, where hearings actually happen. And this includes not only their base budget, but their exceptional items, the things that are kind of on their wish list if they had funding appropriated to them. Can the needle really move at this point?
So in the big picture, we know there's $119 billion they can spend. We can't go to 125 billion. But within that 119 billion, we can move the needle a little bit. And what I mean by that is if we have very specific asks and we've got the revenues to pay for it, we can ask for it and we can make a difference. So things like statewide water conservation education plan, or specific funding for air monitors that we want to see. I saw a very interesting thing happen actually on Thursday, the next day. There was a whole group of youth here and nonprofit organizations that work with homeless youth. And I got actually pretty choked up because a lot of these kids came up and testified and talked about how the money, a little bit of the Texas Department of Housing and Community Affairs budget that went to nonprofits to help homeless youth made a difference in their lives. In one case, a kid who was going to commit suicide didn't do it because he got help from that nonprofit organization. They made a difference that day to the senators up there on the dais, and I think they're going to move that needle. And so that's why it's so important to get involved, whether your issue is local parks or air monitors or any other issue under the budget.
Wow, civic engagement. It's powerful to see. And that reminds me, if you haven't weighed in, if you voted last month or last year, and you're waiting for your lawmaker to do the right thing, don't count on it. You have to let them know how you feel about these issues. So we have, as I mentioned last week, a lot of action alerts specific to the hearings that Cyrus just attended on behalf of the Sierra Club. Check it out at our website. And before we sign off, what's coming up next week?
So next week, we're starting to have some other committees meet. In fact, on Wednesday, we've got the Natural Resource Committee in the House and Energy Resources doing a joint hearing to talk about the issue of the use of water by the oil and gas industry for hydraulic fracturing. I wasn't invited to testify, but I'm going to be watching. It'll be interesting to see how these new committees deal with the oil and gas industry and the impacts they have on our environment.
Is that going to be live streamed?
It will be live streamed.
That means you can watch it too. We'll put a link to the streaming website on this post. So until then, so long.
Bye.